almost heaven. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old here, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Take me home, country road, to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
Hello everybody, welcome to this edition of Video Notes from Mr. Flugum's chemistry class. That's right folks, this is for Gen Chem. Alright, and we are going to be taking these notes on page number 11 in your science notebook. And we're going to be doing this. We're going to be addressing a specific problem that is asked of you on the Willamette Promise test. Okay, and that is finding an unknown metal using some stoichiometry principles. So the first thing I want to talk about is this, is we need to think in terms of units. Now, the units for molar mass are grams over moles, right? And every element has a unique mass. Okay, if you look on the periodic table, those elements, there isn't really any confusion about which mass goes with which element, right? Nothing is the same. So here's the deal. If we can find the amount of grams and the amount of moles of a substance that are present, and you divide them together, you can find the molar mass. And that way, we can identify the unknown. Okay, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take you through a problem here. At the end, I'll give you steps on how to solve it. All right. Okay, folks, so here's our problem. We have an unknown metal, reacts with hydrochloric acid, and it tells us what we get, and we also know how many moles of hydrogen gas are produced, right? So what we want to do is find the atomic mass of the metal and identify the metal. And we need to write a balanced equation. So let's start with this. Let's start with the balanced equation, right? So we can do this, right? We know we have metal X, and we know it's reacting with HCl, right? And we know the two things that we get. We get XCl2, that's our metallic compound, our ionic compound, and we get some hydrogen gas, right? Now as we look at this, we just need to balance it. And in order to do that, we just put a 2 right there. So now we have a balanced equation to work from. Even though we don't know what metal X is, we know where it fits in the reaction and what kind of compound it forms. Now that we have a balanced equation right here, nicely typed out for us, we can move on to the next step. Okay, so now we need to do this, figure out how many moles of metal X we have. So how can we do that? Well, here's a key piece of information. We know how many moles of hydrogen gas are formed. So using that information, we can calculate back to the X using stoichiometry. So here we have the calculation showing us how we get from moles of hydrogen to moles of X. And it's really easy because it's a nice 1-to-1 ratio, right? 1 mole of hydrogen gas to 1 mole of X. Which means this, right? Our moles of those two things are equal to one another. Now that we have this simple information here, how many moles of X we have, we can easily do this. We can find the molar mass. And remember this, right? Molar mass is equal to grams over moles, right? And it's that simple. So I'm going to take the grams that I have, I'm going to take the moles that I have, and I divide it. So here's the calculation right here, showing our molar mass of X. I took the grams from the problem, right? And I took the moles from our calculation, and I found a molar mass, which is 65.47 grams. So that's one part of the problem, right? I needed to calculate the atomic mass. Now I need to do this. I need to identify the metal. So in order to identify the metal, I go to my periodic table. When I look on my periodic table, I notice that zinc has a mass of 65.38. That's only 0.09 grams per mole off of my calculated number. And that's the closest I have. So therefore, I must conclude that this metal is zinc. Now that I've done that, I have answered all the questions, right? I have determined the molar mass, and I have determined what element it is, identified the element. I'm completed my question, right? So here's a summary of the things that we did, right? We started with a balanced equation. You always have to do that. Then we calculated the number of moles of the unknown using information from the problem. Then I took the grams of X and the moles of X, and I divided it so that I could find the molar mass. And last but not least, we took that molar mass and we matched it to the periodic table in order to identify the element. Well, that's it, folks. Now, I might make that seem simple. The question is this: can we apply this idea, okay, in class? And we'll take a look at a problem when I see you in class on Thursday or Friday. Well, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.